Hi, my name is Michael Becker, and welcome to the mCordis Mobile Thought Leadership Series. With me today is Jenn Herman, founder of Jenn's Trends. Jenn is an expert in social media and uses her expertise to help advise and educate marketers on how to place social at the heart of their marketing engagements. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jenn and have her explain to us how she got started. Jenn?
Absolutely. So I started my blog, Jenn's Trends, in January of 2013, so about 3 years ago. And I actually started it because working at my day job, we were encountering some challenges getting certain other employees to understand the value of social media marketing. It was something that we knew we had to embrace. But getting over some of those challenges and introducing social media into a non-traditional environment in the government contract world was a little bit difficult. And so as I went through these processes, I realized, I could probably share these experiences with someone else and help other people. So because I figured, why not? I started a blog. I literally sat down on a weekend and started writing, put together the whole blog over a weekend and launched it on a Monday. Started blogging randomly. It was a very 101 kind of entry level social media blog designed to help small business owners who are doing social media maybe for themselves or a small team that need to overcome those beginning steps and things like that. So that was how it all started, and it's grown obviously significantly from there. And I continue to blog, even though now I do a bunch of other things within the social media sphere in terms of doing training. I've written a couple books. I do speaking engagements and other things like that as well.
Thanks for the background. That's fantastic. So what is social media and why is it important for a brand to integrate it into their marketing?
So social media it's being social, it's being conversational, it's in developing a community, it's interacting with your customers. It's hard when people say it's social media marketing because it is marketing in the sense of you should be talking about your business and your brand, and it's a brand awareness tool. But social media in and of itself, whether you're talking about Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, those types of things, are just a platform. It's a vehicle as a way to communicate and build relationships in a community. So businesses need to be doing this in a modern society. It's just the reality of how we work. So much is done on the internet, whether it's online shopping, online interactions, and things like that. You need to have that forefront presence where your customers and potential audience can find you.
Jenn, there's more than one social platform out there. I mean, everybody talks about Facebook, but there's so many more. Can you help us understand how does one go about choosing which social platform to use within their business? What factors should they be looking at?
Well, and like you said, there's a million of them. Depending on if you want the biggest, obviously, is Facebook, and you can get down to really small, tiny little niche industries that have their own almost like secret underground communities that most people don't know about. So obviously, the big names: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram are kind of your big forefront. LinkedIn obviously as well for kind of the business networking side of things, and then you can get in all the little ones like there's things like Snapchat. There's the live streaming apps like Periscope and Meerkat and things like that. YouTube, Google Plus. So I mean, obviously we can go on for hours about the tools that are out there. But in terms of deciding where you should be and what tools you should be using for your business, first and foremost, you definitely want to look at where your audience is. Who is your target demographic and what tools are they using? So if your target audience is females in that 18 to 30 range, you're probably going to want to look at things more like maybe an Instagram or Pinterest or Snapchat, things like that tend to be that younger generation. But that's not to say that you'd want to exclude something like Facebook or Twitter. If you're looking for a demographic of, a male in the 35 to 60 range who is a business professional, you might want to look at LinkedIn. So it's going to depend on that target audience, where they are, and then you can kind of pick the best platform in that context. But beyond that, because you also have to think about, where are you comfortable? If you're really used to and familiar with Facebook, you might want to start on Facebook where you kind of have a solid footing and you feel comfortable and you don't have to learn all the new processes of a new platform. So those are kind of the two top things that you want to consider when you pick a platform. But you also want to think about a couple of things like how much time you have. If you only have an hour a day to manage social media, you don't want to go up and pick 6 platforms to manage and now you're running ragged doing 10 hours of social media a day. You'll go crazy. So how much time you have or how much time your team has, how involved you want to be in those platforms. Things like Twitter can be much more high moving, fast action type interactions, and you're expected to be there to respond every 30 minutes. If you can't be online every 30 minutes, then maybe Twitter isn't your best, platform up front. Not to say you can't use it, but these are things you want to consider. And finally, you kind of want to think about the content that you have to share. So if you are a very visual based business, if you've got lots of photos and videos, that's going to lend to certain platforms like Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, things like that. Versus if you have a lot of written content, if you're big on blogging or those kind of things, you might want to lean more towards Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook. So all of those things combined, you put them all in one big melding pot and figure out what you want to do. And you can pick one or two platforms to get started on. Don't go crazy. Don't think you have to jump on every shiny new tool that comes out. And don't think you have to get on 6 or 7 platforms right away. Start where you can, get comfortable, build up that relationship, build up that audience, build up your confidence. And then you can add in a couple more as you go from there.
So Jenn, when we were prepping for today's call, you mentioned that you've been spending a lot of time with Instagram. And in fact, the last year you've written over 12 case studies, one a month, on various brands and marketers successfully leveraging Instagram. Could you focus on the 4 or 5 factors that really play out well with Instagram and what marketers need to be thinking about when they're using that platform?
Sure. So Instagram is where you need to be. I'm sorry. I can say that because I love Instagram. But in all honesty, aside from Facebook, which is obviously the world's biggest platform, they own Instagram. So they have the infrastructure of Facebook behind them, which is why they have grown so rapidly and so successfully. And it has grown in exponential bouts above and beyond the growth of any other platform we've ever seen. We're over 400 million active users at this point. So your audience is on Instagram. The demographics are equal to or greater than what you would get for the same type of demographics, whether it's males, females, age range, that type of thing is what you would get on Twitter. So if you turn around and say, my audience is males in the 40 to 50 range and they're only on Twitter, no, they're on Instagram as well. So don't feel like, Instagram is just for the kids, as everyone wants to say. It's definitely not. It's a very robust platform with a wide, broad audience. So you can definitely use it from that perspective. And Instagram it's a fun platform. It's very, people want to show photos and they want to engage and they want to interact. And it's fast moving, but not as fast moving as Twitter. So you can get a lot more out there. You don't have the algorithms like you have on Facebook, so you don't have to worry about hiding anything or having to fight through a lot of noise like you do on Facebook. So it's very beneficial from that perspective. Instagram has recently just made ads public to everybody. So as a marketer, you have the ability to use an ad platform and get your message out there that much more significantly on the platform using Instagram and their ads. So in that context, it's really right for everybody. Any and all businesses can use it. I get asked all the time, if you're a service-based business or if you're a coach or somebody who's maybe not a product-based business, they don't think they can use Instagram, but you absolutely can. There are so many strategic ways for businesses of all shapes, sizes, and everything to be able to use Instagram successfully.
You've done about 12 case studies on Instagram in the last year, but most recently, just this last week, you looked at Emily J. Rosen and you reviewed her site and how she's using Instagram. Can you tell us what you think in particular she's doing really well with her use of the Instagram as a social media outreach tool for engaging and interacting with her audience?
Absolutely, I can, and I could go on for hours on this topic, so I'll try to talk quickly and cover it as simply as possible. But yes, some of the things that are most important for a successful Instagram account are that you use your captions well. You don't just want to post a pretty picture and not do anything else. The caption should take your story that much further. So the picture should get somebody to stop in the feed. It should be a high quality photo we don't want pixelation, we don't want blurriness. No, weird reflections and odd photos. We want something high quality that makes people stop and want to look at it. And then the caption is what takes it that step further. So you should always be ready.
Just to interrupt, really, what is the caption? Is that an overlay on the image? Is it a title above? Is it something that sits below?
The caption is immediately below. So you can use a text overlay on your image. Some of the best reactions I've ever got are when I put a text overlay that says, "I need your help, see below." It's like that call to action that makes them stop when they see that image and look at the caption below. So you can definitely incorporate that kind of aspect of the strategy if you want, but the caption is directly beneath the photo. You actually have 2,200 characters, so you have plenty of stuff to or space to be able to write. But on average, I tell people to write about a paragraph. So you want something that is short enough that they're not on Instagram